Hi everyone, it's Lindy on here from Pink Whisper Designs. I hope you're all having a great day. I thought it'd be fun to make a fall card, and I thought we'd use some Hero Arts products today. So let's get started. This is the stamp set we're going to be using. This is the Hero Arts Clear Stamp Set, and you can see I have all these beautiful images on here. And this is called the Autumn Wreath, and it has the coordinating dies as well. We're going to be using the wreath, the leaves, the acorn, and that sentiment, Happy Harvest. And we're going to be stamping on the Strathmore Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock. So I've placed the paper and the stamps in my Misti stamp positioner, and I'm just using my anti-static powder tool. And then I'm going to use my Versamark watermark ink pad to ink this up. So I'm going to make sure I have a nice coating of ink on there and then press this out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some embossing powder on it. This is a detail gold embossing powder that I'm using. And I'm just going to sprinkle that on all over, and then I'm going to tap away the excess. And you definitely want to use your anti-static powder tool, because you can see even though I use that, I still have a little bit of powder that's stuck there. So you can take a brush, just a small brush, and brush it away. There I just used my finger. And now you can go ahead and use your heat tool to heat this up. And you'll see that as it embosses, it gets a nice shiny gold effect to it. And then I went ahead and stamped a whole bunch more of the leaves and the acorns. And then I'm going to run all these pieces through my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine. So you can see there I have everything stamped and die cut. Now using the brown and the light brown, these are the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens, and these are a water-based pen. And I'm just going to apply the lightest color first and then a little bit of the darker color around the edges. And I'm using my blender pen to blend those together. And I want to keep it the lightest down the center there. And if your pen gets a little too dark, just clean it off on some scrap paper. To do the top, I'm going to be using the dark brown. And I'm simply just coloring that in. Now using the green and the yellow, I'm going to do these leaves here. So I'm starting off with the lighter color, adding the green, and then I'm just again going to blend that out, kind of from the center out towards the edges. And I did the same thing for all 4 of these leaves. Now I'm going to take bright yellow, and I'm going to take 4 of this style leaf. And I'm going to do 4 one way and 4 in a different set of colors. So I'm going to use these 2 colors for these. And again, using the lightest color first and then blending out with the darker color. And now I'm going to grab some Scarlet Red and just add a touch of that down towards the base here and just blending that out. And I just want to keep the tips of the leaves the lightest. And now with dark pink and wine red, I'm going to do the other 4 leaves of this same style. And I'm going to again start with that lighter color and add the darker color and then pull those 2 together. And then I did decide to come in with a little bit of the geranium red, just to give it a little bit more of a darker color down in the middle there. So again, I'm just going to pull that out towards the edges. So I did all 4 the same way. Now with light green and green, I'm going to do the wreath. And I'm simply going to do the same thing for all of these little leaves. I'm starting with the lighter color, adding a little of that darker color sort of towards the base of the leaf, and then pulling it up towards the tip. And I'll show you here a couple more leaves. And then I'll do the rest of these off camera. And again, if your pen gets too dark, just clean it off on some scrap paper. So here's a few more. And so you can see how simple this is. So now that we have everything colored in, I'm going to go ahead and just start to assemble the card here. So my card is 4¼ by 11 inches, and again, this is the Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock, and I'm scoring it at 5½ so that we can make a top folding card. And this will be a standard A2 size card. And then I'm going to grab these two colors of green. This is the Hero Hues Meadow. These are 100-pound weight cardstocks, and the Hero Hues Kiwi. And then I'm going to take the Hero Arts Infinity dies. These are the nested frame cut rectangles. I'm going to take that second and third largest rectangles. And with that second largest one there, I'm going to grab the darker paper. So the larger one will be from the darker cardstock and the smaller one will be from the lighter cardstock. And then I'm going to go ahead and run those through my Spellbinders Platinum 6 machine. So now that we have those all set, you can see the beautiful layers we have now. So I'm going to use my Crocodile corner chomper, and I want to round off all the edges, and I'm using the 1/2 inch rounder. So you just want to pull those two little tabs out from the side and then check and make sure you have the 1/2 inch, and then slide it right down into the corner there, and then just press down and it'll just clip off those little edges there. And what's nice about this is it'll go through really heavyweight cardstock, and you'll see here in a second it'll actually go through the 2 layers of cardstock here, and it does it really easily and leaves a nice smooth edge there. So that adds a nice little finish there. So now, using the Hero Art stencils, I'm going to use these border stencils, and I'm going to use that dotted one on the right hand side there. So I want to take that lighter colored cardstock, the lighter green, and I'm just going to tape it in place on my glass media mat here. And then I'm going to position it towards the bottom. Just want to make sure it's nice and straight all the way across. So I'm using the mat just to make sure that I line everything up. And then I do want to block off that border right above it. So I'm just going to use some Post-it notes here. You could use more of your purple tape. The Post-it notes are fine. And then I'm going to grab my water-based dye ink. These are again from Hero Arts, and I'm going to grab that pine color. And this is from the mini set, the Libby's Purple Garden set. So I've taken a foam applicator, and I'm inking it up. And I'm just going to apply that ink through the stencil. And I did do a nice dark coating of this green. So I went over it a few times just to make sure that it was nice and dark. So once I have that all set, I can lift up my stencil and you can see what a cute little border that leaves. So I'm just going to let that dry while we do the inside of the card. So I did want to create that same type of border on the inside of the card. So I'm going to again tape my card down in place, making sure it's lined up straight on the grid here. And then I'm going to line up my stencil towards the bottom again. And again, I'm going to just tape that down, make sure that I cover that border that's right above it there with the Post-its. And then I'm going to ink that up as well. Just moving those Post-it notes over a little bit just to make sure that I have that completely covered there. So now you can see how cute that is as well. So now that we have the layer done and the inside of the card, I'm going to take that light green cardstock and I'm going to place it in my Misti stamp positioner because I want to do my sentiment. So I want to make sure the wreath is exactly where I want it to be, but I'm not going to tape it down permanently yet because I am going to be popping it up later on. So we're going to grab the sentiment Happy Harvest, and I'm going back to that pine water-based dye ink, And again, with the dye inks, just press and hold it a little bit and let that ink transfer. And you can see that I didn't get a complete stamping there, so I'm going to do this about 3 or 4 times. I'm not pressing really hard here. I'm just pressing and holding for a second or two, and then I can ink it as many times as I need to till I get a nice crisp image there. So now I can remove that wreath, and you can see that we have the sentiment stamped perfectly. So now I'm going to grab my 1/4" score tape, and I can start assembling this card. So I'm going to take that dark green layer and I'm going to put score tape all over the back of that. I'm removing the backing and then I'm going to attach that to my card. And you just want to line this up and center it. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the light green panel. So now that that's all set, I'm going to go ahead and attach my wreath. I'm going to be using the Gina K Thermal Web foam squares, and these are the white ones. And I'm going to just place these all over the back of my wreath here. Then I'm going to remove the backing on those and attach this to my card. Just trying to make sure I have it centered. Now I've laid out all my little pieces and I'm going to use my iCraft Ultra Bond adhesive. And I'm just going to start attaching these. So I took a little time just to kind of see where I wanted everything to be. And then I'm going to attach everything with the glue except for the little acorns. I'm going to be popping those up with a little bit of the Scotch foam mounting tape, just to give them a little bit more dimension. So if you're not sure you're going to remember the layout, just take a picture of it with your phone. You can take pictures of different ways that you like it and then select the one you like best, and then refer back to that when you're reassembling the card. So just kind of tucking everything into place here. And this is the fun part. So take your time and have fun just creating the scene here. And this glue does dry perfectly clear. It goes on white and dries clear. And I'm saving that last acorn for the inside of the card. And I'm just going to glue that flat, just to add a little bit of interest on the inside here. So now I'm going to take my Nouveau Dream drops, and these are like a pearlized drop, and this is the Gold Luxe. And I'll squeeze a little out here so you can see it a little bit better up close. But it's got this beautiful pearlized effect to it. And I have a few of the colors, which I put on some black paper just so you could see how beautiful it looks on the dark papers as well. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some little drops of that on my wreath here, just to bring out a little bit more of that gold. Now I will say that some of the gold Luxe picked up a little bit of the green from the leaves below. So keep that in mind, that because we did use a water-based ink to paint with, it is going to pick up a little bit of that color. And a little bit of that in the bottom here too. But I did want to show you on the bottom, I decided to add these little drops to the center of each of these circles. And I just love how that came out. I just thought it was so cute. Just added a nice little, I don't know, elegant touch to the bottom there. So now using my Buttons Galore and More Sparklettes Embellishments, and this is the Fall Foliage Collection. And it's got leaves, metallic leaves in it, and crystal clear gems and some pearlized kind of like corally colored gems. But I'm going to be using these red sequins. They're kind of like a corally red. And I thought it went really, really well with the wreath here. So I'm just going back to my iCraft glue, and I'm just going to attach quite a few of these little sequins on here. And I thought it added a lot of interest to the wreath. So I went ahead and attached all the rest of those little sequins. And now you can see the card up close. We've got some beautiful fall colors here. This just is such a pretty stamp set. And you've got all these little pieces that you can use in this stamp set, which I really like because you can use them for just about anything. And here's the inside of the card with that little acorn. And then I also use that stencil on an envelope just to make everything coordinate. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at pinkwhisperdesigns.com. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.